All right, welcome back to Mile High Hoops. Today we're talking about the New Orleans Pelicans, and our AI generated image theme today is old Western movies. For the most part, they are Clint Eastwood movies, but Zion here is Django Unchained, which I think came out pretty sick. There's a lot to talk about with this team. They have a lot of upside, and there's just going to be a whole lot going on. But make sure you like, subscribe, comment down below what you'd like to see in the next one as far as team or AI theme. But let's get right into it. All right, starting with Zion Williamson, the biggest asterisk on this team right now. When he was healthy and he played 61 games in 2021 or 2020, 2021, he averaged 27 points for them and 7 rebounds, almost 4 assists, a steal, half a block, and shot 61% from the field. Didn't shoot the three great, but for someone like Zion that is such an unstoppable bowling ball going towards the rim, the shooting doesn't really matter too much, especially when he's 60% from the field. And his effective field goal percentage is up as 61.6% as well, which is just absolutely massive. I think the biggest thing for him is work on health, of course. I mean, that's just a given. But if he can get that free throw percentage up from 70% to even higher, like 80, 85, I mean, he would be absolutely unstoppable. I mean, people can't guard him in general, especially on the perimeter. And when he gets down low, I mean, he just gets every rebound and puts it back up. He's so actually nifty around the rim with kind of both hands. It's kind of weird for a player of his size to have like as much finesse as he does. And I think that goes kind of underrated for him in how much finesse he actually has. But again, Zion's going to be good. It's just a matter of if he's healthy. And I think he's actually going to be more than just good, and he's going to be absolutely fantastic. If he's healthy, I think he's a lock for all NBA. Whether that's first, second, or third, he's going to be on there. And he's going to be a massive addition to this team that already did really well last season. Now, for Brandon Ingram, it seems like he's kind of leveled out as like how good he is over the last few seasons. But then in this last playoff run, he increased his scoring output by 5 points a game. He started hitting the three at a better rate. His free throws are up at 83%. He gets 6 rebounds, 6 assists. He did turn it over quite a bit in the playoffs, but I mean, he's a younger guy on his first run in the playoffs. But I think BI is just like he doesn't need to get a lot better. Like he's already really good. Defensively, he could probably get some better reps there. I mean, he's got such a big frame that he should be able to keep most people in front of him. And especially if he gets pretty good at like just recovering and like getting a late contest or a chase down block or something. I think small plays like that will start to add up for this team that already has a lot of like extreme hustle guys. And I mean, BI is going to be good. This team's going to be really good. Now to Valanciunas, Jonas is such a good fit for this team. I think he was such a steal getting him from Memphis and trading off Steven Adams. I mean, Jonas has started to show some signs of being an incredible stretch big, and he's just also just a rebounding machine. He plays very solid low post defense. He guards the pick and roll pretty well. I mean, he moves his feet better than most guys as thick as he is. Um, and I just go back to thinking there's a game where they played the Clippers and hit 7 of 8 threes and got 15 rebounds, 2 steals, 3 assists, only turned it over once and had 39 points. And like that's just like the ceiling to what this guy can do. I mean, he's not going to be doing that very often, but having this guy out there that can stretch the floor pretty dang well. I mean, his percentages for the season and the playoffs weren't great, but I think there's signs of development there. And it's kind of been a trend lately that some of these older centers are really starting to add threes into their game. and like kind of stepping their game up to a different level. And I think having him out there with the rest of the shooters on this team, and then Zion, who's not much of a shooter, is just such a good fit. I mean, Zion's going to be crashing to the rim and just looking for open guys or just finishing, and having Jonas to shoot or be there to clean up is going to be a massive add-on for this team, and just another guy that fits so well. Now, the new gunslinger in town, CJ McCollum, he averaged the most points that he has ever averaged in a season this first season with the Pelicans. And then in the playoffs, he gave him 22 and shot the ball not quite as well. But I think CJ is just another good piece for this team. I mean, they've got these guys that can score, and can defend a little bit, and this is just like their third main scorer. I think Bi is going to be their like alpha, and Zion's kind of up there with him. Like they're going to be fighting for that. And then CJ's just this guy that's going to be like cleaning up all these extra points from bailing them out late in the shot clock, creating when they've kind of got nothing else going on. And I think actually CJ is going to be playing a lot of point guard for them. Maybe not to start the season, but I think he's going to be running like pick and rolls a lot. He's going to be curling off screens and then looking for open shooters as he drives towards the rim. And I think CJ is just, he was a great steal getting him from the Blazers, and he's just going to help propel this team to a whole nother level. Now, this can be a little bit different. I am going to kind of spitball a lot of these just to try to make these videos a little bit shorter. But talk lineups. I think Jose Alvarado is going to start at point guard for them. He did a lot shooting for them, and then as well just like playing crazy defense. I mean, he was a menace to Chris Paul against the Suns, and I think it'd be just smart to have this crazy defender in your starting lineup. Even though like Devonte Graham is probably a better player than he is, I think Devonte would be better suited to come off the bench. But then CJ at the two, Bi at the three, Zion at the four, Jonas at the center. I would assume the first substitution would be taking Jose off the court, moving CJ to the one, and then inserting probably like Garrett Temple or maybe Herb Jones if they want to get like have the kind of this big small ball out there, and have him at the small forward with Bi up at the two. I think they've got a lot of flexibility with their lineups here, especially because they have all these guys like Trey Murphy, Najee Marshall, Herb Jones, Larry Nance Jr., all these guys that can play like multiple positions. And so I think they've got a lot of options. Their bench is also a pretty good unit. Devonte Graham, Garrett Temple, their new first round draft pick of Dyson Daniels, Trey Murphy, Najee Marshall. Trey Murphy, let's stop for him a little bit. I mean, he's just this like 6'10" stretch shooter that's kind of following the same suit as Michael Porter Jr. He's definitely not got the ceiling that Michael Porter does, or even like he's not where Michael is at this point, but he's kind of in that same archetype. And Herb Jones, crazy good switchable defender, a lot like Jared Vanderbilt, just kind of got that dog on defense. I mean, he's just going to be hustling, diving on the court, doing whatever he can to help them win. And then, I mean, they've got guys like Larry Nance that's just proven to be a pretty good player. Jackson Hayes, he's kind of finally started to progress a little bit as a player. He just needs to figure out some things on defense as far as where to be, how to guard pick and rolls, how to like stunt, recover, and not overcommit to one or the other and give up free buckets. Now, I know I didn't want to make this too long, but this is just a thought I had. If the Pelicans are doing well this season and everyone's healthy and they're looking like a top four or top three seed, and they wanted to go all in, I think an idea kind of like this trade, this trade's definitely not perfect. This is just an idea I had as far as them going after the Jazz. But if they could get a trade something like this, where they're moving that Milwaukee pick, that's not going to be all that valuable, and they're moving maybe like Dyson Daniels, if I mean they want to just like get better now, and they don't have time to wait for him to improve since he's just a rookie, then going after a guy like Jordan Clarkson, who's going to come off their bench and be an even better like fire starter, spark plug type player off the bench than Devontae Graham, then Jordan Clarkson would fit great. He'd come in and give them plenty of scoring, run some offense pretty well for them. And then I threw TJ McConnell in here because I know the Pacers also want to tank. I threw TJ McConnell in here. He's just an excellent table setter, offense runner. I mean, he runs pick and rolls to an extreme level. I mean, as far as like a role player guy goes, I mean, you can't really get a better role playing point guard at this point. I mean, he just does pretty much everything on the court pretty well. He's not a wonderful shooter, but as a bench guy, when you've got Clarkson and all these other shooters around you, you'd be pretty good. And then since I had them moving Larry Nance, I mean, you could probably swap Nance out with like Jackson Hayes or something, and I threw just Daniel Tyson here for money and like insurance on bigs. Um, but I think, yeah, just a deal like this in general, where they really want to go for it now. They can't really go wrong. They've got so many picks. I would definitely suggest them holding on to those Lakers picks as long as they can and seeing what those turn out to be because the Lakers very well could be really bad in the next few seasons. So if they can move off either their own or this Milwaukee pick and everything that they got from the Drew Holiday trade, they could really load up and add another star to this team. Clarkson's definitely not the star, but this is just a friend, like a fringe, like along the edges type improvement trade. Yeah. So with all that said, I think the Pelicans here, again, asterisk being Zion Williamson's health. I think that this is a 50-55 win team. Like they're going to be pushing for a top seed in the West, whether that's all the way up at 1 or around 4. I mean, there's so many good teams that it's impossible to tell this season which team is going to be the top seed. If I was a betting man, I would put the wager on this team being a top seed just because, I mean, they've got all the pieces finally coming together, and I think that they've got all the tools to do that. Just a matter of health. So it'd be high risk, high reward on that one. But again, this team's going to be pushing for a high playoff seed, and they're going to definitely make a run in the playoffs, especially with all the defensive tools and offensive tools they've got. And it's just a matter of if all the guys are along for the ride and all of them are healthy, all of them are performing up to the standards that they should be in the playoffs. And I think they could easily see a Western Conference Finals run if people are healthy. But yeah, with all that being said, thank you for listening. Again, like, subscribe, stay tuned for more, and let me know down in the comments what you'd like to see in the next one. So you all have a wonderful day. See ya.